Okay, let's begin. Now for your reference, we're going to work with this code here that we had from our last tutorial. But before we do, I want us to look at a new principle that we have here. And this is called named return values. So Go's named return values may be named. Go's return values may be named. If so, they are treated as variables defined at the top of the function. So here are the variables: int, sum when it's an int, x and y, and that's an int too. These names should be used to document the meaning of the returned values. A return statement without arguments returns the named return values. This is known as a naked return. So naked return, it does not return these arguments here. Naked return statements should be used only in short functions, as with the example shown here. They can harm the readability in longer functions. So you have bigger functions, you do not want to have a naked return. So in order for this not to be a naked return, I'm gonna put x and y, these things over here, and then it's not a naked return. Let's write this code out in our editor, and then we're gonna play around with it and see what else it can do to add to our program. So you can copy this code and put it someplace else and save it. I have it here because I'm going to use it again after we explain this concept in Golang. So first, we have package main, as always, and then we want import format. Then our function we have is called split. Take a sum of int, then x and y, and then that's int. And then brackets over here. So x equals sum times 4 divided by 9. Y equals sum minus x. Okay, and then we're going to have a return. Now, we have the function main. Right. Function main is going to format we're going to print. This is print line over here, and we're going to apply the split function to any number that we put over here. And whatever you put split over here, it's going to be the sum. So I'll type in split. The example says 17, keep it the same, 17. And now this over here is sum. So this will give us this number and this number. Let's try to change this a little bit. Let's keep this the same. I want to show you something. So if I'm in my command editor, my terminal, I'll run this. And you see, it gives us the x, which is the sum of 17 divided by 4 divided by 9. And then it gives us the sum, which is 17 minus 7. And of course, these numbers are not exactly correct. So what we can do is we can change this to a float 32. Float. Okay, now let's run this again. And here we have more exact numbers over here. So this is a naked return. And to make this not a naked return, to make it a match normal conventions, let's type X and Y, these things over here. And then we're going to run it again. Gives us the same output. So this is just a proper convention that they would like you to write your code in this way in order so it's easier to read in case you're writing a bit more complex function. Okay, now that we know what a naked return is, let's play with some other stuff here. So we are going to erase this so you can save this someplace. And we're going to make a calculator. Okay. Don't need this here. Okay. So the main function, and then beneath this, we can have a function called calculator. And it will take A, B, and we're going to have a float. Have an int this time. We have an int. We have a multiple int divided. All right. And we can say multiply let's not do that. We're going to change our calculator. I want just to have float. You can give us an int. Let's do it anyway. Give us an int. Okay. And we want to have something called for multiplying and something called for subtracting. And we're going to call this int right now. And the multiplication will give us A times subtraction will give us A minus B. And then we're going to have a return over here. All right. And then on our main function here, we hit format, print line, or so we can have from our print line, we can just say, let's say we have 20 times 5 equals, and then this is going to be something that we have over here. And the next printing will print 20 minus 5. Okay, and that's going to equal here. And we want to have two different variables that we're going to put it inside here. So let's just put W and Y. No, W and J. And W and J equal the calculator function, and they equal the 20 and 5. When you change this to 5. So WJ equals 20 and 5. And we're going to add W over here. And this is going to give us, this W is going to represent the multiple here that we have. So this W goes to the multiple, which is a variable inside our parameters. And this multiple over here gets multiplied here, A times B. Right. Calculator has an A, it takes a B. And it's saying that this A is the a multiplying variable. This B is a subtracting variable. This multiple, right now we wrote MUL int, but it doesn't mean anything until we wrote this over here. Now this multiplies. This sub doesn't mean anything until we put A minus B. Now it subtracts. And in this function, the main function that we have, we put W, we put J. These don't mean anything. They're just things, holders. And now W is the multiple, J is the subtraction, 20 and 5 are the A and the B. So I hit W over here, and I'll put J over here. And then we can test this out again. It says expected a J, expected a, it says 26. Show me the right folder. I say 9. Unexpected W. And it says 10 unexpected. Unexpected W, expected comma, or J, unexpected. Okay, so forgot to put a comma over here. Comma. I'll put a comma. All right, and here we go. 5 times 20 times 5 is 100. 20 minus 5 is 15. Okay, so this function did its job. And yes, it did work. But if we were to, let's say, if we were to change this to divide. So let's say I wanted to divide, I'll divide a weird number. And I'll change this multiple to divide. And then I will just change this over here to divide. And finally, this changes it to divide. Here. Let's put this with this. Yeah. Now, when I run this again, right. 4 divided on 4. Okay, now it says 27 divided by 4 is 6. 27 divided by 4 is not 6. So in order to get this right, we need a float. So I'll change this to float. 32. Float 32. Float. Now I run this again. I got more exact numbers. Okay, let's go back to our application. And again, in order to make this a proper function, we add these variables over here. So I'm going to add dev and sub. This makes this a proper return instead of a naked return. So this is better for conventions. All right, it's the same thing. Now we're ready to add this code to our original app. So you can comment out this. I'm going to delete this. We can comment this out. I will pull this up here. Okay. So we did some stuff with our app, and you kind of want to add another function called calculator. And this is going to basically multiply the money that we had by interest. Let's say that we had a new bank and we put our money in a bank. Now multiply that money by some interest. And then after that, we'll also be able to see what our money was like before we got that interest. Again, this is a new calculating function. Function, calculator, A and B. And this time we'll call this a float, 64. And then we have a multiple, which will be a float, 64. Then we have subtraction, which would be a float, 64. And this is a typo over here. Okay, this is good. Let's put in what we want the multiple to do. We want the multiple to multiply A and B. We want the subtraction to subtract A and B. So now we have our function. Let's use this in our main program. So we have our total amount of money that we have over here. And right now this is an int. We don't want that to be an int because it'll give us an error. We want this to be a float. So we're going to change this to a float. So distinguish, let's say we have a new bank. And we have payday, we call this payday 3. And it's going to equal float 64, payday 2. So when we call this as a float, this was an int over here, we changed this to a float over here. It was int 64, now it's float 64. Now, we have two variables, because remember, calculator will take two variables. So you have a multiplication and we have subtraction. We're going to multiply our payday, and we're going to subtract whatever interest we want to make up. Let's say Bank True has 5% interest. Okay. Yeah, that's 5% interest. So we have the calculator function. Okay. I move this back to here. So say new bank has 0.5 and 0.05. And bank 3, okay, 0.5. So this is A, and this is B from over A and B. Now this is A, sorry, this is A, this is B. This will be the multiple, and this will be the subtract. The multiple and the subtract. Now, the total will be, we're just going to add, using the add function that we created, this add function over here. And total will be our payday plus our percentage over here. And I want to say payday interest equals G, right, payday minus interest, that'll be M money you have now equals some basic stuff. So this is G, which is the multiplication over here, and the second, and this is M, which is the subtraction over here. And this is that way because we entered the GM equals calculator. So calculator will take these two as A and B, and this will be the mul and the multiplication and the subtraction. So let's run this program. Okay, and we're missing at 31. We're missing return on 31. Aha. So we did not return. Gotta return this. have a naked return. This is not a naked return. All these are not naked returns, and they cannot be. But this can, because it has this information over here that's going to return. Let's run this now. On my screen, run it. Enter this little price of the stock, say 50. How many stocks? Please have 50. And now we get all this information. Your stock has 0.5. This is the interest. This is the stock minus the interest. And this is how much money we have. And you see it's a little bit more than it is over here. If we use another number, say we use smaller numbers. So you have 2 stocks. We have $3 and 3 stocks. We see a bigger difference over here. Okay. How much is this to percentage? Makes more sense. 5%. Look, that's 5% interest. Let's see what we get. So that concludes our work. And again, we should add this. And this is not a naked return anymore. It does the exact same thing. Here we go. Okay, so I'll comment this out and say, we'll comment this out. Let's put a little note over here. This is an example of a naked return. It can use naked return. And sub. All right. See you next time.